Good evening. My name is Mahmoud Abdelmodi, and today I will be presenting my final proposal for General Security Company. Thank you for your time. All right. So we're going to be discussing the revival and restructure of General Security Company. The intent of my presentation today is going to be to provide substantial evidence to support the needs for a restructure of organizational methods. By improving our deficiencies, growth is promoted. The proposal requires implementation of solutions from top management to lower echelon officers. First of all, I want to discuss what attracts officers. Officers have a desire to help. They want to make a difference in the communities that they're serving under. There's, of course, the thrill of the job. There's nothing like chasing down bad guys, making arrests, or solving an investigation. Schedule flexibility is, of course, another asset and something that attracts officers. When the private security industry, as opposed to your standard jobs, you're not working a 9 to 5. You can work the midnight shift, which helps out a lot if you've got other things going on, such as education or childcare issues. There's, of course, the opportunity for continuing education. Unlike law enforcement, in the private security industry, you can continue to take classes in advanced firearms, anti-terrorism, interrogation, handwriting analysis. These are all things that you can actually use on your job, but it's because it's a private industry, you can take these courses and still have your company pay for them, which is always a benefit. And there's, of course, the experience. We've got a lot of officers that typically get into the private security industry because they're building their resume, or they're getting into law enforcement, or they're trying to start their own agency at some point, or they want to get into executive protection. There's the camaraderie, there's the brotherhood, and esprit de corps. We have a lot of officers that are prior military or prior law enforcement, and that's the kind of that's the biggest asset for them. That is what they're seeking. And of course, job security. You can work in any state, any country, working in security. And so these are some things that allure officers to come and to work into the security industry. Drive. I have been working in private security for approximately 6 years. Before that, I was in the United States Marine Corps, and I worked for about 4 years. So I've got a lot of experience. So during our review and our analysis of your company, I'm not speaking from an outsider's perspective. I have walked those shoes. I've worked in those boots, and I know exactly what it takes. What attracted me to the security industry was the effect that I was having on the community. Start my day meeting with folks, residents, communicating with them, helping children with homework, and it was absolutely rewarding. By the end of the night, I was chasing gang members and making arrests, and that felt fantastic as well. And so we want to maintain this concept of what drives officers, what attracts officers, because this is going to help us learn how to maintain our officers. So today, during our presentation, we're going to be discussing the issues, proposed solutions, how to implement the solutions, and the risks and benefits. We observed through our analysis high turnover in the company. We've got a lot of heavy call-offs and absenteeism, negative exit reviews, decreased performance, and poor morale. And subsequent to all of these, we have a loss in, we noticed that there's a loss in your, with your client retention. Through our observations, we noticed communication was hostile, workplace disputes are affecting morale. Due to the poor morale, officers' performance has dropped immeasurably. Call-offs and no-call, no-shows have doubled since last year. We confirmed this with Human Resources Department. Clients have canceled contracts for performance-related issues. Officers who quit complain of feeling overworked, which creates increased demand on the remaining workforce. Officers have also left for higher-paying jobs in the same industry, which means that the market rate for the salary is not equivalent. The steps that we took to gather those facts: we reviewed the employee interviews. that were supplied to us by your Human Resources Department. We also spoke with current and past employees and gathered their feedback as well. We reviewed the schedule to determine whether there was any issues in regards to your work-life balance, because that was one of the constant complaints that came up from current and past employees. And we observed leadership and subordinate interaction out in the field and at the office. So we want to discuss measures to improve the current situation and the keys to success. First thing we want to do is we want to improve trickle-down communication. We want to restructure the schedule. Currently, the officers are working about 50 to 60 hours a week, which is above the national average. We want to limit them to about 40 to 45 hours a week. You want to invest in your officers, increase their pay, become marketable, and we want to create avenues of feedback to be relayed back to management without fear of retaliation. Some of the cons or the risks associated with these changes: increasing the salary is going to cost an additional $24,000 a week. Creating a new schedule is going to be very time consuming, and reducing overtime is going to upset some of your staff because some of your officers have probably become dependent on that increased paycheck. However, those are creating unnecessary expenses for the company. So by implementing the tools that we discussed in the previous slide, we're going to be improving morale, which is going to affect the workplace and increase performance. By improving the work-life balance, we're going to decrease absenteeism and high turnover. Incentives will encourage and motivate the officers to strive for more. And improving communication is going to result in a more efficient and effective workplace. Reducing the overtime is going to save us about $36,000 a weekly compared to the loss that we're going to have from increasing the salary. I'll show you the math in just one moment. But by implementing these tools for success, we are going to be, our client retention is also going to improve because of the performance and punctuality and consistency with our officers. We want to create open avenues of communication for our officers. So you want to create a nexus or an access point, some kind of forum for them to communicate with human resources and share their feedback or recommendations. If there's issues that they observe out in the field, they can communicate it. But we want to have something that allows them to communicate without fear of any kind of repercussions. We want to encourage management to participate in emotional intelligence workshops. And in the final proposal that I have attached, the written one, it'll discuss the benefits of emotional intelligence and why we require it. We want to reduce the overtime and stop forcing officers to work it because this is affecting their work-life balance, which is decreasing morale, and increase the pay rate. I'll show you the math. So we've got about a 200 officer workforce. If we increase their pay by $3, and we average it by the 40-hour work week, we get a expensive $24,000. However, if we reduce the overtime and limit them to the 40-hour work week that I proposed, and we multiply that by the average overtime rate of $18, we get a savings of $12,000 a week. So that'll give us $36,000 a week, but the weekly savings is going to be $12,000 if we do that math. So what you want to decide is how you're going to invest in your company. You can get new tools, new patrol cars, new radios, but investing in your workforce is going to exponentially increase benefits all around, from client retention to better performance from your officers. Reducing overtime is going to increase the profits and allow for increased pay while improving on the work-life balance of employees. Morale and officer retention will increase and subsequently improve the performance. With performance up, clients will no longer seek services elsewhere, thereby positively impacting our reputation. These measures are simple, effective, and significantly alter the current course. I hope that this presentation helped clarify the final business proposal that I sent to you. If you have any questions, please feel free to call me, email me, or Skype me, whatever is easier and more convenient for you. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys attending this presentation. Thank you.